and spin it over. Alright guys, welcome back. We are working on this DD51T Suzuki carry. I told you guys I'm going to be doing some videos on what I'm doing to it, how I'm servicing it. So I've already started this process and I've got the valve cover off of it. This is the 12 valve engine. So you'll literally only have 4 bolts pretty much in each corner to pop this valve cover off. A couple hoses here. Of course, you got to pop your plug wires off, and sometimes the gaskets just be stuck on it, so like anything else, just pry it off. It should pop right off for you. So I've got the timing cover off of it, and I've got number 1 spark plug out already. So what I'm going to do is roll the engine over and make sure the highest point of the cam lobe is nowhere around the rockers, where the rocker arms touch the cam. So I've got the lobes facing directly this way, so that there's no pressure or anything on these valve rockers. And they feel decent, but we're gonna break them loose here. I'm gonna gauge them and then we'll break them loose, and we'll get them even closer to where they need to be. Number 1 feels pretty good. I haven't touched it with a feeler gauge yet, so the exhaust valve. So intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. So your intake valve, you want it to be at 6 thousandths, and your exhaust valve, you want it to be at 8 thousandths. I cannot get this 8 thousandths feeler in between the rocker and the valve. It's a little tight, so I'm going to back it off just a hair. And 10 millimeter break that nut loose. Then you can take a flathead screwdriver, back it off a hair. It's the 8 thousandths feeler, so we'll slip it in. Man, that one's really tight. I still can't fit the 8 thousandths in there. Okay, so now I got the 8 thousandths. All right, it is nice and snug on the 8 thousandths. So I'll take the 10 millimeter wrench. We'll hold the flathead in place. We'll snug the 10 nut down. And now we'll recheck the feel on it. Yep, that's where it needs to be. All right. So the intake side was good. When you're checking these, sometimes when you don't have any pressure on them, you'll have to pick up on the rocker itself. And get your feeler in between there. On the green Suzuki we just had in here, this was the issue with the no start issue. They were way too tight and the valves wasn't working the way they were supposed to be. So I set the valves at 6 and 8, and we went from 30 pounds of PSI on the compression up to 100 and I think 50 on the number 1, and we went up to 170 something on number 2 and 3. So made a huge difference. These engines take 65 PSI just to fire and run rough, but with number 1 spark plug in it, it was extremely hard to turn, and we're going to do a compression test on it. Let's see what number 1's at now. Michael, I'm going to need you to turn the key over here in a second. Before you do that, though, I got to unplug the fuel pump. All right, fuel pump is unplugged. That's the easiest way to do it, I think. The carburetor is off this engine, so we don't want to be pumping fuel all over the floor. I got that going. And spin it over. Now it's 100. Now it's 205 pounds of compression. That's crazy.
Yeah, it needs 65.
Needs 65 to fire. This engine, after I did that valve adjustment, it's got 205. Next notch there is 210. Hell yeah. That's a good sign. Rings are good. Valves are seating right. So if anyone buys this truck, they're going to know for sure it's got a really good engine in it. You look at the spark plug, see how black it is? That's that junk ass carburetor it was on here that they had retrofitted. It was I guess an ATV or some type of motorcycle spark plug. Ridiculous. Or spark plug, carburetor. When I went to go take out number 1 plug, it was hand. Oh, look at that one. It's hand tight. I was turning the engine over with the ratchet, and it was real tight, but it was I could hear air seeping out. I said, I wonder where that's coming from, if it's leaking from a valve or what. But I went to go take number 1 out, and it was looser than what you just saw number 2. Now that one looks a lot better. That's a lot cleaner looking plug than what number 1 was. All right. So get the cam lobes completely away from the rocker arms. That's my 6,000ths. Intake's good. Let's see what the exhaust is on this one. Exhaust is tight. I can't even get the 8,000ths in there. Let's see if we can get 6,000ths in it. Yeah. Don't worry about Michael. He's got emphysema or something.
What's the?
Not really.
What was that they used in the Wizard of Oz?
Asbestos.
Asbestos. I have that.
I'm gonna do a compression test on this cylinder before I even do an adjustment. because both valves are sitting at 6,000s. I want to see what the improvement is when I put the exhaust up to 8,000s. All right, spin it over. This one is right at 200. So we'll see if we can get it up to 205 or 210 after I set that exhaust valve. Eight thousandths. Sitting at 8,000s now. We'll snug it down and we'll do another compression test on it. This is very important to do. If you have a truck that you run hard, you're running high RPMs a lot, keep an eye on your adjustments here, because if those valves aren't working right, you're not going to get the compression you should out of the engine. Therefore, you're going to be low on power. This truck doesn't have a whole lot of miles on it. 51,000 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So pretty much 30,000 miles, just under maybe. All right, wind it over. We got 7 more pounds out of that cylinder. That's just over 205. So we're at about 206.
Do you want to be over 200?
Higher the better. Yeah, higher the better. We'll put number 2 plug back in it, and then we'll pull number 3 plug. The other Suzuki we worked on, it had 150, 178, 180 on 2 and 3. But it was ingesting a lot of dirt, so I believe that's why the compression on that one was lower than what this engine is. That's good. You want to grab that for me?
Yeah, I was looking for that magnet.
Oh, it's hanging up there on the side of that right there. Yeah, no, the black handle ones right there. Yeah, there you go. Right in front of you.
If it was a snake, it would have bit me.
Dad was here, he'd say it's in my boot.
The snake's in his boot.
Yeah.
He's a cowboy. There's a snake in my boot.
My snake wears boots. You ever put boots on your snake?
No, I should have. That was hilarious. TikTok before it died. Put a little cowboy hat on it. Put one of the Mexican sombreros. and boots on it. Put a sombrero right on its head.
Olé. Now, just like the other 2 cylinders, I can't get number 8 or the 8000s feeler underneath the exhaust. My cam, let me check my cam. I think it's facing straight down. That's why I didn't roll it. But we'll look and be sure. I can see the lobes now, so. Yep. Intake is good. Exhaust is not, so gotta back it off like we did the others. All right, so when you're running the tip of your feeler in between the valves and the rocker arms, you want to be able to have it real snug against this, where you can just move it in and out, where it's real snug against it. That's how you know you're not too tight or too loose. Number 3 is a little tricky, getting your hands set where you want them. I'm gonna go ahead and snug up these other rocker arms. Make sure you're tight and not going to back off. I got 4 people watching me. I got a whole audience.
Yeah, they've been in here too.
I got a whole ass audience.
It's a consistent 4 people.
All right. Go ahead and spin it over. So we built up to 204 on that one. I didn't check it before, but I'm just going to assume that it was just like cylinder 2. So we got a few more pounds out of it. This is a truck that the customer is going to be selling after it's fixed and ready. So you guys keep that in mind. You know, this is video proof of the compression, the adjustments and everything. So not only am I showing the customer and you guys what the truck physically is doing, but it's a good reference to go off of when you're owning one. You want to go through and set the adjustments and see where they're at, where they should be, and just knowing a little bit more information about how your valves are supposed to be set, where they're supposed to be set at, and how to do it. I mean, that's a pretty simple job right there. It's doesn't cost anything unless you want to buy a valve cover gasket. So yeah, if you guys check in on the next video we're going to be doing. I'm probably going to be servicing oil next, I'd imagine. He's doing the carburetor stuff on this one. He's got a job cut out for him on that alone. He's got to do rerouting for all the vacuum hoses, the coolant lines, the coolant hoses that circulate coolant through the carburetor that operates the choke. That all has to be turned back around. So yeah, there's quite a bit to do over there on that carburetor side, but we're good on this side with valve adjustment. The timing belt looks good. It looks like they cut out the bottom cover for the water pump. So I'm wondering, it's got to be the right water pump, I would imagine. I wonder if the original cover wasn't messed up a little bit and they ended up just cutting around it. I don't know. I am going to look at it though, and we'll figure that out when we cross that bridge. But yeah, I appreciate you guys checking in. Eric, I hope you're liking these videos that we're doing, seeing what your trucks are doing. So yeah, check in with us on the next one, and we'll catch you later.